Initializing Ethereum protocol. Establishing link to Cloud Citadel. Welcome, Alita Army. You stand at the threshold of quantum consciousness.
Okay, hey.
Where did that come from?
What's that, Lottie? You gonna let me get the intro?
Where did that come? Sorry, go on with your intro. That just surprised me. I hadn't seen that before.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool, I think.
Well, did you just add it this week, or was it there last week?
I've had it for about 3 months. I think 3 or 4 months. So
What?
yeah,
I've never seen that.
yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, with the Vlad bastard Meister doing what he's doing. Welcome to the Alita Livestream, February the 20th, 2026. Alita and the Future of Humanity, What Comes After Zalem Falls, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gunham, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, Creek Indian from Denver, Colorado, and with me is Lee, and he is from Fountain, Colorado. How's it going, Lee?
Oh, it's going pretty good.
Cool. And from the Shires in the UK, we have Vladi. How's it going, Vladi?
Hello, not too bad. Just having a quiet one this week after last week's pilgrimage to London again to see Rosa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hike for you, isn't it? You got to ride the train in, don't you, or something like that?
I get the bus in. The bus goes all the way from like my town straight into London, and it leaves every like 15 minutes. Way easier than the train.
Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So,
But yeah, it takes like 3 hours.
Yeah, I still remember that trip we all had. That was outstanding. I still think about
Yeah,
that.
that was crazy.
Yeah.
And then so that was really good fun, and it was great to meet all of you guys.
Yeah, and we got to see our queen again too. So that was
exactly
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I ahead of you now in the Rosa Hugs League table? I got 2 more last time.
Well, let's see. The first time I met, now I'm not counting how many hugs. I don't know, but
I'm not going to make it an official league table.
Well, I don't.
I'll get one more next week. I mean, in a couple of weeks.
But I know the first time I met her, she hugged me a bunch of times. I don't know how many.
Why did she hug you the first time she met you? She didn't know you.
I don't know, Vlads. You know.
Was it because you said you came from really far away?
Well, no. I think what happened was you know, after the first time I met her, not to recount the story again, but the first time, you know, when Charlie and I went to Pasadena Playhouse, she came out and we saw each other, and I just kind of threw my arms open, you know, and said, "Rosa," like that. And she ran up to me and hugged me, and I went, "Oh man, I wasn't expecting that," you know. But and then we, you know, and then she hugged Charlie, you know, and then we were talking, you know, and Charlie, you know, she said, "Well, where are you guys from?" You know, and Charlie said, "Well, I'm local," you know, because he lives in Culver City, and but he said, "Gary here, you know, flew in from Denver," and then she looked at me and said, "You flew in from Denver to see the play?" And I said, "No, Rosa, I flew in from Denver to see you in the play," and she hugged me again. So
yeah.
Yeah, and when I showed her my YouTube channel, which back then I think only had 180,000 subscribers, I think she hugged me again. She hugged me several times the first time, The second time I went to see her, I think she hugged me 3 times. Might have been twice, but I think it was 3
All
times.
right, yeah, I think maybe you are still ahead then.
Yeah. Well, I had a little bit of a head start, I guess. Yeah. And then, of
Exactly.
course, she hugged us all 3 or 4 times, you know, when we all were there. So,
Oh, when
Yeah.
Kishio showed up on set while she was making the movie, she hugged him too. So I think she's
Oh,
just a
yeah.
hugger.
She's
Yeah,
definitely a hugger.
well, she loves her
It's very
fans.
nice.
That's the main thing. She loves us all, you know, and she's gonna hug you. There's no problem there, and that's all right, you know, because she's really
She's a sweetheart.
Yes, she is. Yeah, she's a sweetheart, all right. So, you know, but she's awesome. You know, we all love her to death. So
It's incredible to see her live. It's
Yes.
like a spiritual experience. And
It is.
did you looked up at the ceiling, right? Didn't I say to look up there? There's this beautiful like medallion of an
Yes.
octagon with lots of gold. It's so like mystical. I feel like there's some kind of spiritual energy we're harnessing with the ritual of theater. I'll probably talk about it more tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, no, tomorrow's a recording.
What?
Yeah, that's right. I'm in a
Why is you here today? Why can't you be here tomorrow?
because I'm going to be in a competition tomorrow.
The competition. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
is there
mentioned
one
that
next
last
week?
week.
Oh, okay, I always forget. Is there one next week?
Yeah, there'll be one next week.
Okay. So
And then
then,
there'll be a recording after that because I got to go to another competition.
that's annoying because that's really annoying
Well, I'm sorry.
because I'm doing the Friday stream.
Yeah, I'm doing the Friday stream.
Oh, okay. I might be able to come on that then, right after seeing Rosa.
Yeah. Well.
What do you mean?
Okay. No, wait a minute. Yeah, you're right. My competition in 2 weeks, that's going to be on a Friday, so the Friday stream won't be going, and I'll be flying back from Columbus, Ohio, so the Saturday stream won't be going. But what I
I
usually
have to do my own stream.
Well, what I do is I'll go look at some past streams and see which ones were really, were really popular, and then I'll kind of do a little bit of editing on it, and then upload it as a premiere. And then what Maxie and I and maybe you, if you want to, or Lee, he wants to come on or whatever, we do a recording. That way, folks are still getting to see us talk about Alita and stuff like that. So anyway, but after the next couple of weeks, after I get past the state championships and I get past the Arnold, then I don't have another competition until the summertime. So we'll be good to go after that for a while. So
Cool. Well, I don't know. Well, that's the next big thing that's happening. Me meeting Rosa for the 4th time and potentially final time, unless we never meet her again.
Yep.
Let's just see her again. Hopefully in Austin, but she didn't have a clue if she was going to Austin or not.
yeah.
Which was a bit random for me to ask. It was Schmendrick's idea. Is Schmendrick in chat?
Oh, you asked her if she was going to Austin?
Yeah, well, I said, we've got these options. We're wondering if you knew when you were going to be in Austin, sort of thing. And she was like, no, I've got no idea.
Well, she's probably lets her manager handle all that stuff for her. So
She doesn't know where she's going next. It's crazy how these actors get such little time to they don't really know what they're doing until they get the call, and then suddenly they're flying off to film the Alita sequels. Cameron?
yes, that's what we really want.
Hmm.
Although I would say that if the Alita sequel was greenlit, she would know about it when she was going to go. But yeah, probably her manager does a lot of that stuff for her. So that's probably why she doesn't know where she's going next. And by the way, I did try to reach out to Alita Rave. I haven't heard from him.
When did you last hear from him?
Oh my gosh, it's been several months. I hope everything's okay.
You got an email from him?
No, I don't have his email. I just DM him. So.
He's like a professional guy, so he's always working. He's probably just busy.
Well, he owns a software company, so he's.
Yeah. Do you know his software company?
No, I do not.
Oh.
I mean, I could probably figure it out, Google it, and stuff like that. But and try to figure out, what his email address is, or at least go to the website or do something, But yeah, I sent him a DM though. you know, but I haven't checked my DMs this afternoon, so I don't know if he's responded or what. So
Yeah.
So Lee, how are things down there in Fountain?
Oh, about the same as usual. Although it has gotten really cold now, down under freezing.
Yeah, that's right. It's
freezing here too, and so much wind.
we had some wind the other day, you know, knocked some branches down and stuff. But yeah, it got cold. It got down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about probably negative, what, about -7 or 8, you know, Celsius maybe.
Got down -10 down here.
Yeah. Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Warmed up to -1 though.
Yeah. Yeah, we're right at freezing right now, I think. So, and it, you know, it's not freezing here is not like freezing like down in Florida. You know, 32 degrees in Florida hurts you more than it does here. Now, I remember one time when my father was still alive, he once told me, he said, you know, he's, you know, because my father lived in Pensacola, and he'd say, you know, 32 degrees here is colder than 0 degrees is in Denver. And I said, no, it's not. It is not. You know, but it is. But you know, they got higher humidity there, so that's, you know, you get a similar temperature, and it feels colder there because of the humidity. But anyway, this is not supposed to be a weather stream, and yet we're talking about weather. So, Vlads, how are things in the Shires?
Good. Pretty cold, bit wet, just usual.
Usual English weather, huh?
Yeah, we're just suffering through till spring now. And it feels like it's on the way. It gets nice and light in the mornings now when I go to work.
Yeah. Well, I'll
So
tell
it's
you,
dark all the time when you leave for work and you come home and it's dark.
well, I can tell you this, Vlads, if I wasn't competing in the Arnold, I'd be flying back there, and you and I'd be going to see her again.
Yeah, that would have been great.
That would have been great, man. But I
You
can't.
could have come for the final show.
Yeah, but I can't do it. Because the day before on Friday, that's when I'm competing. So, you know, it is what it is. So, all right. Well, anyway, we may as well try to get some stuff done here, I guess. Anyway, we still got the LA Fires fundraiser going on. You know, help the folks there in LA. You know, I still think I have $100 that are outstanding there. I'm gonna you know, kind of donate that to them because I've given them to the Greater Good Charity $1,600. I got to give them another 100 to meet to the 1,700 right here. But you know, if you can, you know, let's help these folks out. You know, I mean, I don't know how much has been recovered yet. I guess I need to do some kind of research, figure out. It may be that they've already recovered. I don't know, you know. But at least, you know, even if they've totally recovered and you still, you know, donate, I'll still give the money to the Greater Good. It doesn't matter because they also help animals, you know, and that's one of the reasons we picked them is because they help the animals, not just the people, you know. So you can go any one of 3 ways. You can put your name in there if you want. I know Angelus and I put our name in there. Alita, Rave, and Lee, they specified anonymous for their donations, and Vladi actually used his internet handle, Vladi99, and 99 is what he picked because I know why. Right, Vlads?
I don't know what you're talking about. I just picked a number at random.
Yeah, just picked that number out of the thin air, right?
Obviously.
So anyway, there's the link below the image on the screen there. That link's down in the description. You click on it, takes you to the website. Click on Donate Now, and you know, you put your money in there, and then I will eventually give it to the Greater Good Charity. And we still got the Alita sequel petition going on, and we've got well over 178,000 signatures, and it keeps plodding along week in and week out. Maybe just a few signatures, but you know, it still keeps going. And I think I'm going to put some more money in there because it's kind of just going along laterally. It's not, you know, increasing very much. You know, maybe 2 or 3 signatures a week. So I might put a little bit more money in it. And the way you would do that, though, is you click on that image, not on the image, but on the link, that you see on the screen there. It's down in the description. That's where you want to click on it. Takes you to the website. You do have to put your name and email address in there to sign it, but you can specify that. Once you've done that, it'll take you, it'll show a list of the people that have signed. And if you specify that, that your signature be anonymous, then they won't display your name and email address. If you want, you can even donate some money there to kind of promote, Alita Battle Angel Part 2. And it does help. I mean, I put a couple of $100 in there a while back, and I think it added like $150 or something like that. I don't remember, but it does help a little bit. So just keep it going, and keep doing that. And I think one of the things I may do too with this one is that I might put together a video that just really promotes Alita Fallen Angel with this link in it, and so people can click on it. And if I promote it through Google Ads or something like that, then they kind of gets a little bit more exposure. So anyway, if you can, if you haven't signed the petition, please do so. And what are you laughing at? Bad Man's 99 thing? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing she didn't write 666, right? Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Because she's not a demon, so we don't
That
want
would be if Disney made the movie.
Yeah. So anyway, sign the petition if you haven't. We sure would appreciate it. And we still got Rosa's Queen Studios bust of Alita, and she knows we got it. And I told her, back in when I first met her, that we had this bust for her, and that was another time she hugged me, Vladi. I think. I think. I don't.
I'll have to chance my luck. She's very generous with the hugs, so I won't have.
She is extremely generous with the hugs.
Yeah, I'll probably get a haircut for next time. I've been putting it off. I'll look my best for the final performance. I should probably dress up.
Yeah, wear a tie, Vlads.
I don't know about a tie.
Oh,
okay. Probably going a bit far. Maybe a bow tie.
Oh my God. But anyway, she knows we got this thing, and I told her we had it the first time I met her, and then she told me the second time I met her that she wanted it, And,
it's cool that she's basically confirmed she's seen all your emails. And she's not bothered to reply yet.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
I know there's no obligation to reply, and I think she will eventually. We're just waiting for the whole sequels.
Well, I told her
to not be up in the air.
I told her when we were there, she doesn't have to reply to me, or
exactly.
I don't care, So
she's our queen. She can reply when she wants. We're just happy to receive any sort of contact whatsoever.
Now, the one time I do want her to send me an email, though, is when she wants this bust. Then she'll have to do it. Well, she has other contact information, but
she could get her agent to email you.
Well, she could. Yeah, she could do that. She could phone me even if she wants. She has my phone number, so I mean, And I think when we were the four of us were there, we gave her this very graphic right here and my contact information. Although she already has it, but just a reminder. But we didn't push her or anything because I don't want her to feel obligated in any way.
No, definitely not.
But that was just among the gifts we gave her.
I totally understand it too because it's this massive, giant, full-size bust, and she doesn't own a mansion currently. So got to get that Alita sequel money in so she can upgrade and have massive space for all her Alita collection.
I bet her house is nice, Lods.
Yeah, but it's not like a giant mansion, I don't think.
It's probably not like an English castle, if that's what you mean.
No, I'm not dissing her house. I think I've seen a house from like Instagram back in the day.
Ah.
It's just like a normal house.
Didn't she move into a new place because she had a house in the Palisades that burned down?
No, she moved into a friend's house for like a few days.
No, well, she didn't have a house in the Palisades.
Oh, I thought she did.
No, she
had to be evacuated, remember, but she wasn't in the Palisades. I don't know. I don't know the geography. But her power went out, so she evacuated.
Oh, okay. So she was near there, but she wasn't in it.
Well, I know she's not in the Palisades. She's in a different community. So, you know, anyway.
She's up the hill,
Yeah.
higher, closer to Zalem.
Yeah.
Mm. I was just looking up the Palisades fire aftermath. According to The Guardian, fewer than a dozen homes have reportedly been rebuilt after a year.
Oh my God. Okay, so we'll keep it going then. I
Isn't the
guess.
government buying loads of it up now for cheap?
Well, define government. If you mean BlackRock, yes.
There we go.
State government or federal government for us, or county government? Which one? We got
the Wall Street government.
It's all tied up together in the great octopus.
We got more governments here in the U.S. than you can shake a stick at, I think. So anyway, that's the way it works.
Well, to simplify it, they're all owned and operated by Wall Street. Basically.
It sure seems that way. So anyway, getting off this political crap. Yeah, we want Rosa to have this. You know, when the four of us were there, we gave her gifts. You know, particularly that necklace. She really loved that necklace, didn't she, Blods? She definitely she clutched it. Yeah.
Maybe she'll wear it on the final night when she comes out. I told her I'm coming, so she might be expecting me.
Well, I'm going to send her roses again. So you know, we'll
Are you going to send her roses for the final night?
Yes, I'll tell her you're coming too, Lottie.
Should I? No, I don't. She knows I'm coming anyway. You don't need to tell her. I've told her already.
Well, I'll remind her. It doesn't matter, Lottie.
Yeah. I don't know. I need to think about what I want to do and what I want to give her and what I want to say, because it might be the last time I ever see her.
Nah, you'll see her again.
Yeah, I expect so. Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah, if she goes off, for a play, I know I'm going down there for that. You know?
Oh yeah.
So
I can't really fly there. I've got to fly to Austin in April probably. I need to contact Brass Knuckle Films, and so do you. You know, did you sort out your account?
Yes, I do. I logged into it.
I don't know how to log in, but I've got the email, so I'm going to just reply on that.
Yeah.
And are you going to reply soon or what? Remember, the deadline is in a week.
Oh, it is?
It's in 1 week.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. We need to contact Alita Rave ASAP. We need to be finding his company and getting his number and calling him.
Yeah. So what are they looking for? They looking for, because I don't have the email.
You don't have I need to forward it to you then. Tell me what email to forward it to later.
Yeah, I'll put it in private chat, but and then you can forward it to me. But yeah, as I was saying,
and they said spaces are limited too. So, but I don't think they'll turn us away if they say we're flying over. They could just. I just want to wander around the set anyway and hang out with Robert Rodriguez for a bit.
If we're investors, they're not going to turn us away. I mean, they're not.
Yeah, that's why I didn't get the whole the spaces are limited. Like, come on, we've given you $1,000. What do you mean limited?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, getting back to the bust, this, you know, we gave her gifts when we went to see her, you know, the four of us, but this right here is not a gift for us. This is more of an award from us. And, and this is an expression from us of our admiration, appreciation, and affection for our Queen Rosa, because she is great. I mean, we really enjoyed seeing her in the play. I know I enjoyed seeing her in Cyrano de Bergerac, and certainly in Alita Battle Angel. I mean, we were lucky that she got picked to play Alita, because that I think there's a couple of the others I know of that would have probably done okay, but not like Rosa. I think Rosa is Alita and Alita is Rosa. So we're fortunate that Robert Rodriguez picked her, to be Alita. So anyway, the bust is still in the box, and the box, I have not opened the box. I promised Starvellian that I would not open the box. He sent it to me about 3 years ago, I think. And once she's ready for it, when she lets us know, I'll say, hey, she'll say, hey, Creek, can you drive that thing down here? I say, yes, ma'am, I sure can, my queen. I can do that. Or if she says, can you ship it to this address? Yes, I will. I'll ship it to that address. Whatever you want, that's what we're going to get for you, And we still got the Alita Gaming Network going. And, you know, if you do live streaming as an example, you know, you can put your link in the live streams channel. I know for this live stream, this time I did put the link in there. If you write a fanfic, you know, like Lee does or Maxie does, you know, or Panini Freak has, you know, written a fanfic. Channel does not exist. She's written several fanfics and put them in there. You know, I've even got a fanfic in there, and you can, you know, read new content, new stories about Alita. If you do artwork or you do videos, you can put that in the user creations channel. If you do content that's maybe loosely Alita related or maybe not Alita related, you can put that in the off-topic channel. The voice channels they're not streamed. They're kind of like a go-to meeting or Microsoft Teams or Zoom or something like that. If you're familiar with any one of those three services, it's very similar to that. They're not streamed. People on the internet at large do not see you. Only the people that are in the network, which I think are around 50, I think. Once you're in the voice channel, they'll see somebody's in the voice channel, but it won't be somebody from X, you know, some dumbass that's on X that wants to, you know, be nothing more than a troll. They don't see you.
What's this X slander all about all of a sudden? Where did that come
Well,
from?
Twitter is what it is.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
well, you know, Twitter is, well, some of these social media platforms have got trolls on them. So, you know, we
They
try
do, yeah. You've
Yeah,
got to
we
be careful.
we don't want to do that, you know, or people are just being
Best
dumb.
thing is to not let them get to you. And thankfully, there really aren't many at all in the Alita Army or the Discord or the subreddit or anywhere, really.
Yeah, exactly. So you just get in
Until
there.
the sequel gets confirmed, and then I'll have to like swat them like flies. You're like,
Yeah.
you're banned, you're banned. You're obviously some kind of like spy sent from the haters. You're banned. I'm banning everyone.
Well, I'm not going to ban anybody, but what I will do is if they start putting inappropriate content on here, they start, you know, kind of trolling people or pissing people off, then I will kick them out, you know, and I mean, I'm the administrator. So
Oh, yeah, I was speaking specifically about the subreddit personally.
Oh, the subreddit. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not a mod on any Discord.
But anyway, as I was saying, you can get in those voice channels and you can talk to other people that are on the network. Maybe you can invite some folks. You don't need my approval to get in there. You just get in there. You know, you sign up for it. Once you get into the network, then you just go into any one of the three channels. You can share your screen if you want. You know, I know I've been in there once with Angelus, and he shared he was playing I think Cyberpunk 2077, I think is what he was playing, and I kind of watched him play that for a while, which was real interesting. That was back in the day when it had a whole bunch of bugs in it. So but it was still kind of fun to watch, you know. And I know Vladi and Smendrick were in the gaming channel for a while before Smendrick's eyesight started betraying him, you know. You know, you can do that. You can have fun in those channels without worrying about the internet at large, you know, kind of being able to see what you're doing, you know, or hear what you're saying. Now, if you want to do a watch party, you can do that as well. You know, you don't need my permission for that either. You just get into the watch party channel and you can, you know, invite others, you know, while you're in the watch party channel if you want, because it's similar to the voice channels. And you can watch, you know, whatever you want to watch, you know, in there. We prefer Alita related stuff, but, you know, hey, we're not going to kick you out if you're doing a watch party. If you're doing porn, we're going to kick you out for sure, you know, but we don't have that problem. So what you could do is also, even with among the folks in the network, you can kind of advertise you're going to do a watch party by putting something in the watch party text channel, you know. So anyway, the thing you want to do to join the Alita Gaming Network is click on that link you see below our little Chibi Alita mascot there. That link is down in the description. You click on it. It takes you to Discord. Now, if you don't have a Discord username, what they're going to do is ask you to sign up. And if you get the basic service, which is what I have, you know, I don't have anything outrageous on Discord. You know, I just have the regular service. It's absolutely free. And then you'll get an invite to the gaming network, and that's absolutely free because we don't make money on Alita. For us, this is a labor of love, is what it is. So anyway, join us on this. You'll have a lot of fun with us, I think, and I think you'll enjoy it. Lee, I think this is the only social media platform you're on, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's pretty safe in here. I haven't heard from Matu in a while. She used to kind of help me watch it. And she actually designed this. Excuse me. Actually designed the gaming network, you know, the way you see the menus and stuff like that set up, you know. So, you know, she was pretty thorough with it, but I haven't heard from her for a while. I hope everything's okay with her, you know. But anyway, that's another story. Okay. Well, here we are, and of course, Lottie, you know I do have slides, so you know you don't have to worry about it. So anyway,
what would we be? We would just be lost without your slides, Creaky.
Yeah, I know we would be lost. Wouldn't we? Creaky would be lost.
Exactly, that's perfect.
So anyway, you know, we talk a lot about Zalem and, you know, Alita trying to get to Zalem, and you know, during the fall itself, you know, the war, the Great War, you know, Zalem was the last, you know, sky city, you know, remaining. You know, all the others were destroyed by the you know, or the military, and you know, we've gone over that over and over and over. But what happens, or what's going to happen that we think? Now, this is fiction, of course, but you know, maybe we could help, you know, steer some minds in this direction if they want to do more and more and more Alita content, you know. But anyway, what happens after Zalem falls? No, in other words, Zalem is no longer a force in people's lives on Earth. What's going to happen? Well, some of the things we're going to talk about is when it falls. You know, it's going to create a kind of a societal vacuum, because one of the things about Zalem, what they did do, you know, after the Great War, is that, you know, they provided technology and some other stuff to the folks on the ground.
Yeah. Sorry, Creaky.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like long after the movie ends, when Alita successfully destroys Zalem.
Yes. This is after all that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
How
think
would
about
Iron City cope? Because Zalem provided loads of stuff that they leached off. The plebs on the ground.
And they were kind of an authoritarian rule too. I mean, they, you know, they didn't put up.
What, Zalem?
Yeah, Zalem was. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's the ultimate symbol of the untouchable elite that can do whatever they want while the people suffer on the ground in pain. It's like it's a timeless tale for humanity that will always be relevant. And it's like, it's like, I don't know, what's the word? Archetypal or something.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're going to talk about the moment this happens. You know, when Zalem comes down, you know, and what that does, you know, to the people on the ground. You know, certainly the people in Zalem, you know, particularly if Zalem's destroyed, it's going to have a very, well, I guess you could say a very negative effect on them, because I guess
Well, I would say hopefully Zalem doesn't get destroyed, because if it does, the city under it's going to suffer.
Yeah, surely that would all get smashed on by Zalem falling.
Yeah, which is what Den of the Barjack was trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't care about the people on the ground, did he? He just wanted to destroy Zalem any way he could.
Yep.
Maybe it would get destroyed without falling, though. Like it just burns without the elevator breaking, the space elevator.
Yeah.
Well, if the current leadership can be toppled in some way, they can probably break a stranglehold on Iron City, and in that way, its control would fall.
I wasn't thinking about, but that's true. Kill Nova.
Well, one way or another, whether Zalem's influence is removed physically or they just politically, you know, either way.
Slay the dragon.
Well, yeah, what's going to happen? You know, how will society react to that? You know, that's kind of what we're going to talk
Panic.
about. And then, of course, once that rule is gone, you remember, because Zalem is ruling with an iron fist over Iron City. Once that's gone, now what? Who's going to be in charge? You know, we'll talk a little bit about possibly some new powers, or, you know, some new, you know, how that could play itself out, you know. And then
There will all be people like Vector. There'll be like gangsters trying to run it.
Well, if you remember your history back in the early 20th century, when people overthrew the czars, you know, and of course
in Russia.
Yeah, in Russia, the communist government was formed. You know, so I mean, it would be
when they killed all the royal family, they destroyed Zalem.
They killed the royal.
The proletariat destroyed Zalem. How did that work out in the end?
Well, they got killed.
Yeah.
The royal family. So I mean, you know, that happened. You know, but we're going to talk about, you know, what is Alita's role going to be in all this? You know, I mean, what is her action going to be? You know, that's what we're going to kind of go over. And she's got 3 alternatives, you know, that we'll discuss anyway. And there may be a 4th or a 5th. We'll get to that. And then, of course, once, you know, Zalem is no longer a force or an influence on people's lives, you know, what is going to be the new social structure? You know, what's that going to look like? And of course,
Zalem had all the good stuff. So where are they going to get it all?
They got all the best stuff. I don't know. I mean, there's some good stuff in Iron City for sure, you know, but I mean,
chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate. Yeah, to be exact.
You don't need much more than chocolate.
Well, they have food and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Well, you got the high quality stuff. You see some of the wealthy, like Vector was running around with.
Yeah, some folks have some. They have a tiered hierarchy there as well, you know, and then of course the people in Zalem be the super elite. You know, they're going to be, like you would think, the top 1%. You know, I guess
the Epstein class.
Yeah, that's right. So you know, we'll get to that. And then, of course, you know, you see the dawn of the post-Zalem era. You know, I mean, in other words, you're sitting, Zalem has fallen, either politically or physically. Now what? You got this view of the future. You know, what is that looking like? You know, that's kind of what we're going to go over. So, any thoughts about any of this, say, Lee?
Well, are we going to talk about that now? I thought you were just listing what we were.
We were all talking about it. It sounded like we're moving on to the topic. Let's get to the.
All right, well, let's get to the good stuff then. All right, we can get to the good stuff. Okay, now when Zalem does fall, you know, in other words, you know, Zalem's no longer the force, you know, that's going. Well, not the force to be confused with Star Wars, but the
controlling force of the lives of the people.
Political or controlling force over people's lives. You know, there's going to be tech up there, you know, and I would assume that once that happens, people in Iron City are going to be able to get up to Zalem. And they certainly, through the supply tubes, they could get up there.
Inside it.
Maybe.
Yeah, they could build something.
What if they all get blown up, though?
Well, if Zalem is destroyed physically, then of course, that's not going to be an issue. That's not going to happen. But it's just they get toppled politically. In other words, Zalem's still up there. The structure is still up there. And you know, how are they going to get up there? Well, they could build a vehicle that would go up the supply tube. You know, for sure.
Building like hot air balloons and things like that wouldn't be illegal anymore.
Yeah, like Hugo's brother tried, right? In the manga. Rest in
I was
peace.
kind of thinking though, the supply tubes may not be particularly what do you call it?
They get quite steep.
No, more that the propulsion system, if it was some kind of like electromagnetic system that brings everything up there, it might cause problems for humans riding in the whatever supply capsules they've got. Although it doesn't seem necessarily likely, because then you'd have other problems coming with some of the supplies they'd be sending up. So that might not be a big deal.
It would probably be more like what you'd see like in a streetcar or something like that. You know, it's
possibly
have, you know, more than likely, but we don't know. I mean, Kishiro didn't go into that. the architecture and the systems that are behind it. But as big as those supply tubes are, and if you remember from the movie, Alita and Hugo, and not just that, and during the fall, when the squad, Gelda and Alita's squad was running up that supply tube, that thing's huge.
Yeah, big enough to drive a bus up it with room to spare, I think.
Yeah. And if they could build, and I'm sure there are, people both in Zalem and in Iron City that can, build a device that would actually use, the whatever, infrastructure they have that would send up, a vehicle up those supply tubes, and they could carry people, and I mean that Zalem's only about maybe 2 miles up or a mile and a half. I think I calculated once it's 2 miles, but Bad Man, I think you once said you read that it was maybe at 1.4 miles or something like that. I don't remember, but anyway.
Oh, that's a possibility. The city on the other end of the space elevator sends forces to take control of Zalem if it falls. Well, all they'd have to do is send them down the elevator.
Well,
how big is Jeru in comparison to Zalem?
About the same size.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But if it's anything like the manga, then they're also going to have possibly other colonial or other colonies out there as well, maybe on the moon or something like that.
Well, not only that, Lee, I think in the movie, didn't Hugo say all the sky cities were destroyed except Zalem? So
yeah.
So, I don't know if any other skies, so there's no other skies.
Well, there's going to be one on the other end of the space elevator.
Oh, you mean like
Hugo wouldn't know about Jeru?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of it as Cathares, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cathares, yeah, true. Well, Cathares, that's the name of a tree of life thing, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. And Jeru is on top of Zalem, so that's like Jerusalem. I love all that stuff in the manga.
So anyway, Badman says the manga says Zalem is 4 kilometers above.
So about 3 miles up or so, around 2.5 miles, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But I know I calculated just from the size, of it, and looking at that one picture in the movie, it appears to be 2 miles up. But we're within the ballpark there, I think, as they would say. So, but anyway, who's going to control that tech?
Well, Jeru sending somebody down from high orbit is one possibility.
Yeah.
And if people are able to get from Iron City up there through the supply tubes or through aerial vehicles, once they're able to use them, you could end up with another war going on Zalem between the orbital forces and the people from Iron City trying to gain control of it.
Yeah. I don't know how many troops they'd have up there.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that the technological edge is going to go to the orbital forces.
Probably.
Over what, compared to the ground people?
Compared to the Iron City people, yeah.
Definitely,
Iron City's not going to have technology even comparable.
Is Jeru even more advanced than Zalem?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Crazy.
At least in the manga. In the manga, they had more power to control Tefares, or Zalem as we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were using Tefares as kind of a laboratory.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Jeru too is that or at least the scientists, the folks that that were running things, and they had the capability of interstellar flight, but they elected not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember.
Oh, that was the other thing too. I think the supercomputer on Jeru was actually in control of the majority of systems on Zalem.
Yeah.
So the people living on Zalem didn't even have control of the most powerful systems in their own city. They had to ask for permission to use the, I think it was was it the Abaddon? It was that scalar wave weapon that they used to melt the big rail gun, or the big train gun.
Yeah.
The Hang, I think it was called.
Yeah.
I keep calling it Big Bertha because I remember pictures from my history books of the big gun that the Germans built in World War II that was on rails.
Yeah. And now, you know, another thing to think about too is once Zalem is no longer, you know, considered like almost treated like heaven, you know, because you remember we talked about that in a prior stream about how there was even a religion around it, wasn't there?
Well, immediately after its fall, it might still be considered that, and it might be that they might consider that somehow, you know, the gates have been opened or something like that.
Yeah, maybe so. But
at least for a while, anyway.
It would feel biblical, wouldn't it, to have that big city burning above you?
Well, what would be the first thing, do you think, that the Iron City citizens would do, you know, after this fall, you know, after Zalem is done? You know, what?
Try and get up there if it's still alive, or run like hell if it's on fire.
Well, if it's falling, they're going to do the best they can to get out of there.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah,
they'll be dead
those
before
are
they
the
can get out from
options.
under it.
Which is going to be
But-
difficult because everything's
Yeah.
locked down behind that water barrier, and you know.
A lot of people will be annoyed that it's gone because they probably get stuff from it regularly.
Well, people like Vector, yeah,
Yeah,
they would.
and just people.
Something
like,
else actually occurs to me. If Zalem somehow gets toppled power-wise, no longer having any control, you still have the factory to deal with, and the factory is sort of like an intermediary layer of
Would all
control.
their like centurions and stuff still function? Probably not, right? The
More than
factory.
likely.
Yeah,
I
You
think
think
those
they
are
would?
all controlled by the factory, and the factory is controlled by Zalem. So
But if
once
Zalem's
Zalem
gone, what
falls,
would
you've
happen
got
to the
the
Centurion?
momentum of the factory still controlling everything.
Yeah,
well,
but
probably,
what if Zalem's not there? There will be nothing to control them.
well, they probably have some autonomy. You know, I mean, I think that probably the citizens of Iron
Yeah, it's just
City-
basically a chain of command.
Yeah, I think
You've got
citizens,
you've got the factory in control of Iron City, and you've got the authorities on Zalem in control of the factory.
well, I do think too that the citizens of Iron City would have to overcome.
Yes.
They would have to overcome those Centurions. You know, that I mean, they couldn't just go up to Zalem. 'Cause
Yeah.
the
Which they
Centurions-
could probably do if given enough time. And once the control that Zalem has over the factory is broken, then they might be able to have the time to do that. But yeah, they would have a bit of a trouble trying to gain control of the supply tubes to get up there. So they'd have to use, well, that's the thing. If they don't have control of the factories and there are anti-air defenses on the factories,
Yeah,
they would still need to gain control of them to even use airships to get up to Zalem.
yeah.
Because otherwise you get blown out of the sky by the anti-air defenses.
Well, I think any attack like that would have to involve, the strategy would have to involve taking out the Centurions and the you know, the air defense systems. I think it'd have to be, you couldn't just go up to Zalem because you get shot down. You know? You'd have to take out the air defense system of the Centurions. You just have to do it.
Now, I'm also assuming that there aren't any air defenses operational on Zalem itself once it's no longer a controlling entity. Yeah, that's if it physically fell, yeah.
Yeah, if it physically.
Yeah, there's no way anybody in the city would be able to get out in time. Once they realized it was coming down physically, it's too late for them to escape.
Yeah. Well, and even the people on the outskirts, probably, I mean, within the city walls, you know, where they got that, you know, water barrier, and, you know.
Oh, they're dead.
They're done. You know, I mean, you might get a few people out through the entrances. You know,
Yeah, but those gates are going to be not big enough to let people out.
Yeah,
Not to mention, like I said, the reaction time. Once they realize it's coming down, it's already too late to escape.
Yeah, if it is 2 miles up, how long would it take to get down there? How many seconds? You know, I mean,
It wouldn't be long enough.
yeah, and if you were in the center of the city,
You're
you
done.
have one option. You bend over and kiss your rear end goodbye. That's what you do.
Yep.
If you're near a gate, maybe. But
You
even then,
might be able to.
well,
That's a big maybe.
Even the concussive force, you know, when it falls, even if you get outside the city, still might kill you. You know, I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a big maybe.
yeah, probably very, very few survivors. The people in the farms probably would survive.
Oh yeah, especially the one way on the outskirts of the Zalem controlled territory.
So, you know, anyway, it would, if it was a physical destruction, and yeah, that's a whole different, that's a whole different scenario.
And the story's over. There's no more Iron City or Zalem. So
yeah. So, what do you think? Would remnants step in?
That's assuming there are any. That's the thing. We still have no idea what the status of Mars is.
Yeah.
Mars might be in the same shape as Earth, where there's like a singular enclave of survivors or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe there are more widespread survivors who are just still struggling, or maybe they all got wiped out. I mean, maybe the last few remaining Martians that were left all were involved in the last attack on the cities on Earth.
Well, if there were any military personnel on Earth, they were all captured probably and killed. It's with the exception of Alita.
Yeah.
You know, so there wouldn't be any remnants to speak of on Earth, would there? I mean,
doesn't seem like it. I mean, there could be that there were survivors, but after 300 years, none of them would have gone into any kind of stasis, as far as, you know, we could tell. I mean, from what I saw or learned about Alita's hibernation, it was only an emergency.
Yeah,
that put her into that, and apparently she had some kind of special circumstances that allowed her to survive that long in that hibernation state.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit like us here in America looking for survivors of the French and Indian War, wouldn't it? Back in the 18th century.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that'd be about a similar.
And at that point, it'd probably be, well, you wouldn't have descendants, because if it was the forces, more than likely the survivors would be cyborgs and they wouldn't be able to have children.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think too many cyborgs survive, though. So
yeah,
say
more than likely, even with just their brain still going, they might not be able to live longer than a couple hundred years.
Yeah. What do you think the psychological shock would be if, you know, here you've got this, maybe they were an oppressor, they were an authoritarian regime, etc., but they did have some sort of control, didn't they? Or they did offer some, how can I put it? Because it's kind of evil, but I mean, there was some semblance of a societal structure now that's gone, you know.
You mean for the soldiers?
Not the soldiers, for the people in the Iron City.
For the people in Iron City, more than likely, if Zalem's control is shattered, unless they can shatter the factory's control, I don't think anything's actually going to change for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically insulated from Zalem so completely that anything happening on Zalem means nothing to them.
Yeah.
Now, if they were to find out and be able to somehow fight maybe a guerrilla warfare or insurgency against the factory and defeat them, then that might actually have some effect on it, because then suddenly they may find themselves with the option to actually go up to Zalem.
Yeah. You know, one possibility too would be that they would strike. They would, if people that worked in the factory would stop working. You know, yeah, that'd be a possible. Now, the only problem with that is they wouldn't be getting any money to survive on. But, because they don't have.
But if they're able to take out the Centurions and other factory forces, they might decide to strike at some of the warehouses.
Yeah.
Which means everybody would start be able to, you know, you'd probably have some hoarding, obviously, but you might be able to get some people who are able to raid the warehouses and get some of that high quality food and whatnot out of there and start spreading it around the city. Plus, you've also still got the fact that people can still actually get paid, because the economy is still going to be working.
Yeah.
So if they leave the factory and go elsewhere, they might be able to start, you know, putting together their own manufacturing centers. Basically, if they're able to keep factory enforcement from stopping them, they could gain control of the supply lines and redirect all the supplies into non-factory manufactories, basically.
Yeah.
So they would still be able to have jobs, basically building a new economy that no longer serves Zalem in any way, shape, or form.
Just serves them.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anybody wants to come on and, you know, talk with us, there's the link. Just click on it. You know, one thing about those Centurions, you know, in the movie, Alita took out like what 8 to 10 or 12 of those things by herself.
Seemed like it was almost a dozen at least.
Yeah.
It may not have been quite a dozen, but it seemed like it was pretty close to a dozen.
Well, what I did was I counted them when I did that one video, and they had a quick shot from the back to the front. And when she was approaching the deckman, there were 6 in front of her. And they, clicked around the shot to her front, and there were 6 behind her. So now a couple of them might have been on the side and got in the same shot. Who knows?
Yeah, about a dozen then.
Yeah, maybe a dozen, or maybe at least probably 10, I think. And she made mincemeat out of them by herself in 15 seconds. So my thought is that, granted, now there are other cyborgs there.
Mm-hmm.
If they all could manage to stop quibbling amongst themselves, and
that's the other thing too. You'd have to have some kind of leadership rise up to take control of people and form them into some sort of resistance.
Yeah,
another thing that would be in their favor, though, if there's anybody who had any knowledge of firearms, which there may very well be, even if it's something that nobody was allowed to use or own, they might be able to start putting together their own rudimentary firearms to take, like anti-tank weapons, to take out the Centurions from a distance.
Yeah. But if Alita by herself can take out 8 or 10 or 12 of them just by herself, now granted, she's got that plasma weapon and all that, but
she's also got the most advanced body on the planet.
But I'm thinking, though, that, with her leadership, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I think they could take out those Centurions, and they could do it pretty easy. I think, and she would have to be in the lead on that, obviously, because somebody.
Well, that's assuming she's available. If Zalem went down, it could be because of something she did, which means she would be up there, and maybe in some other capacity dealing with something else going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, she might be a rallying point for people to gather around and try to sort of consolidate everybody into a force to try and take out the factory.
Yeah.
Or take control of them or break their control, what have you.
Oh, good. Badman says it takes 29 seconds to fall from 4,000 meters.
Yeah. The compressed air below it as it's coming down, though, would hit a lot sooner and still cause a great deal of damage as it's coming down. Yeah.
So you got less than half a minute to get your ass out of there, and you better be, like Badman says, you have to be several hundred kilometers.
That's about enough time for somebody to get their boots on.
Yeah.
So
and they're dead.
They need to get on their like unicycle things. What are they called? The gyro
bikes.
Yeah, they need to hop on their gyro bikes and try and get away as quickly as they can.
How fast will that thing go in 30 seconds?
They can get down to the end of the block.
Yeah. And they're dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be pretty destructive, By the way, just another thought here. Who would benefit the most from the say a political or societal collapse of Zalem? Who do you think would benefit?
The criminal element, especially the criminal element that already controls vast sections of the city through drug trade, prostitution, any kind of organized crime. The larger the criminal network, the more likely they are to basically take control of Iron City.
Plus 100 warriors.
Yeah. And the largest criminal organization would probably have the most money to throw around to hire all of the hunter warriors.
Yeah.
Basically taking out all of their, or marginalizing at least all of their opposition and basically becoming the new government of Iron City. Well, unless somebody were to do something about that.
Well, if Zalem and the factories are no longer functional, then the hunter warriors don't have a livelihood, so they'd have to rely on the criminal element, wouldn't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And since there's no factory to say anything, or since the major power, Zalem, is no longer in play, and if they decide the factory isn't worth listening to, then yeah, they can just go and decide to hire the hunter warriors for whatever the amount would be needed and start taking things for themselves.
Yeah, because I think one of the things, like somebody like, say, Zapan's not going to take out a single Centurion by himself. He's not like Alita. Alita takes out a dozen of them. He'd be lucky to take out one of them, by himself. But you get enough hunter warriors together, maybe then you got a force, that could deal with the Centurions. So,
Yeah.
but that would be, of course, if they're not in cahoots with the criminal element, which might, they might have a different objective, behind all this, so we know it kind of looks like the way Kashiro has got this whole Iron City, Zalem, Jeru, or Scrapyard, Teferes, Catheres set up, the kind of the art, not the art,
The layers of power.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult for the citizens of Iron City to overthrow that, very difficult, for sure, particularly with Jeru, say, or Catheres, they probably got technology, probably several hundred years in advance of anything they even have on Zalem,
Yeah. That's the thing. Unless you have a highly organized force, you're not really going to have much effect on the overall picture, which is why I say the biggest criminal element with the largest area of control is probably going to be the one that does take control, because they're going to have the forces set up and ready to go right then and there to take over everything.
Yeah. So we can see that's going to be difficult, but given that it happens, here's what we were talking about. What would happen now? Given Zalem, if Zalem came down physically, I think if we remember from that, I guess the extras that were on the DVD, there were pockets of humans living out, away from, not under control of Zalem, in different,
small little tiny groupings and settlements and things.
Yeah, and like even in the manga, like Alhambra is an example.
Yeah.
Before them.
And also in Zalem controlled territory, if it's anything like the manga, there's probably going to be things like little mining settlements or far-flung farms and whatnot. So you've got other settlements even outside the city within Zalem's controlled territory. So, yeah.
And they're no longer within Zalem's control. So, so what do you think? It'd probably be, at least initially, they would probably organize around more like what the ancient Greeks, the city-states.
Yeah, possibly.
And of course, any tech they had, that would be under their control. Now, the tech on Earth is not going to be anything like in Jeru, for sure. It's going to be behind. But at least you would have some autonomy there among those small city-states, once Zalem is no longer in control, And, of course, that would be one possibility, but we're talking about here the rise of like what you would think of as new governments, if you want to think of it as that. I think initially they'd be fragmented. I don't think they would unite.
Certainly they'd be fragmented.
Yeah, because
any kind of like consolidation of power is going to take time, and that's after they find out they're even able to, which itself could take a little bit of time.
Yeah,
and if you've got the outerlying settlements around Iron City, if they find out too late or act too late, you could have whatever consolidating force takes over Iron City reaching out and taking control of them as well before they're able to act.
Or you might have one small city-state, in one location, take over another city-state because they have resources they need or something like that.
Yeah, you could have a mining settlement and maybe one or two farm settlements that band together and become a city-state.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Or you might have like these cyborg guilds. Now, my thing is guilds. If Zalem comes down physically, there probably ain't going to be too many cyborg guilds.
If if Zalem comes down physically, that's the end of the story.
Yeah,
there's no survivors.
Yeah, there's no cyborg guilds to organize.
Yeah, there's no cyborgs, no humans, no nothing.
Only the folks that were living outside of Zalem.
What if it didn't fall, but it floated away into space? Jeru like took off and it just disappeared, just leaving Iron City by itself.
Jeru's a satellite. I'm not sure. Can they take off? Batman?
It might be a plot twist.
Well, Jeru's on the other end of the space elevator.
Yeah, but
It's
if
not.
Zalem came
It
down,
can't like take off.
well, if Zalem came down, they would probably detach the space elevator. You know, Jeru would. Now, would they be able to fly off somewhere? I don't know. Badman, would know more about that, I guess, than we do. But yeah, I don't know if that's possible because they're up in geosynchronous orbit. So they're
yeah, it's a space elevator, not a spaceship. So
yeah,
probably not something that it's designed to do, even if they were inclined to.
Yeah,
there was just a random thought that came to me. It would be really cool if it just suddenly started floating away, and Iron City would have been completely freaked out. What the hell's going on?
That is a possibility, Blotty, because if the space elevator at Zalem came down, that would change kind of the inertia. And now maybe Melchizedek could, maybe if they had like some kind of propulsion systems of sorts that did correction, maybe they could make some. Damn it. God, I hate spam callers.
They're just trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Wait a minute.
It might be a Alita raid.
I need to put this damn thing in airplane mode so nobody will bug me. God, I hate that. All right.
Mine's always on silent anyway.
Well, I got my volume down. The ringtone on mine comes on no matter what. I guess I could change the settings and make it do that. So yeah, I probably should do that, Blotty. Anyway, yeah, that's right, AKA.
Speaking of spam, I found out that they make a figgy pudding spam.
A what?
A figgy pudding spam.
Like spam as in the ham kind of thing.
The canned meat.
I'm talking about spam callers.
Yeah, but
obviously. How the hell does that even work? Isn't that
I don't know. They've got jalapeno spam. They got black pepper spam. They've got Korean barbecue spam.
Does anyone actually eat spam?
Oh, I eat tons of spam.
Oh my god.
I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat that.
Bacon spam, in fact, is cheaper than bacon here, so I use bacon spam.
Jesus Christ. Is it healthy?
No. But none of the food we eat is healthy, especially as poor as I am. I can't afford healthy food.
Yeah.
At least not much of it, anyway.
Well, we live in Alita's world, so
yeah.
Got to live off the scraps.
Now that third bullet, armed veterans try to rebuild a unified Earth. I don't think that's a very viable option. I mean, there may be some descendants.
Oh, I was going to go back to your second point here. The cyborg guilds. More than likely, there wouldn't be any cyborg guilds because any powerful cyborgs of any real use are probably going to be snatched up by whatever power chooses to take over Iron City, which would probably be the largest criminal organization.
Well, unless these cyborgs, at least the more powerful ones, could kind of band together. Of course, we saw on the bar that they refused to band together against.
Yeah, that requires a certain level of altruism, which really doesn't exist in Iron City.
Yeah, that's true. But it is a possibility if maybe several of them said, "No, we're not going to go along with any of this bullshit. We're going to do our own thing." But once again,
I suppose it's a remote possibility, but it does seem like a really remote possibility.
Yeah, I don't think it's likely either myself. And of course, can you imagine somebody like Zapan and maybe Screwhead and some of these,
all of those working together long enough to create a guild? Yeah,
no, I don't think so. Yeah. They're too individualistic, I think. So, yeah. Anyway,
as Zapan said, they're lone wolf types.
Yeah, exactly. So armed veterans trying to rebuild a unified Earth. I don't think that's very likely either. I mean,
I doubt I think the only ERM veteran on Earth is Alita.
Yeah.
But I'm sure she would be unified to rebuild Earth.
Yeah. Well, she might. Now we're going to talk about this a little bit. There's got a slide coming up on it, but she could probably be the focal point of a unification that would rebuild Earth. So,
possibly. That's the thing. Cameron already brought that up with Kashiro
yeah,
about her being, a leader of a revolution, and Kashiro shot that idea down.
yeah,
Because
Yeah,
according
don't
to
turn them into
Kashiro,
like
she
Katniss
has
Evergreen.
some leadership abilities because she's, charismatic and able to draw people to her.
yeah,
But she is very much a Ronin.
yeah.
It's much more interesting that she just explores her own like self rather than trying to save the world. Which is more important anyway. It's more valuable to humanity to have that kind of freedom of spirit that Alita has, rather than just like leading a rebellion against the like the evil empire again and again and again.
Now, she did lead the Space Angels in Last Order, so she might be able to. Sort of
I wouldn't say no to that, but it's not the crux of her story.
On a limited scale, she might be able to.
Yeah, so, to get something started maybe, but probably not for any kind of long-term type of thing.
Yeah. Oh, Bad Man said, what if Alita and Yoko disagree about something? Well, I mean, Alita...
Well, then she's talking to herself in the corner, and this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, and then it's not going to work. Exactly. Well, he does. AK said they do that sometimes. So anyway, what about tech monopolies emerging from the Zalem salvage?
Oh, that's certainly possible. If you've got, and more than likely, it's going to be whoever gets up there first, and that is likely going to be whoever can take out the factory first.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm kind of inclined to believe would be whichever of the large criminal syndicates is able to do that themselves. It's possible that the largest one is able to do it, but is so weakened from fighting the factory that the next one in line is able to get the jump on them.
Yeah.
So it's more than likely going to be one of the organized crime syndicates, as it were.
Or it could be the survivors up in Zalem themselves.
That's entirely possible too. If there are survivors up there and they're able to get themselves together, and there isn't that civil war like they had in the manga, and you've got them to contend with.
Because there are techs up there in Zalem.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, they're under the control of Jeru, so that's going to be.
They probably don't have much in the way of a fighting force, though.
Yeah, I always thought that had.
Now there is the MIB, the Medical Inspection Bureau, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And they have those robots, but I think those robots are in after a fashion under the control of Jeru.
Yeah.
Because Jeru seems to control all the major sort of systems on Zalem.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see which one came out on top. The people in Zalem or the people down in Iron City that managed to get up there after defeating the factories. Who would win out? Yeah, that would.
Yeah, if the people on Zalem are still around to take control and something hasn't happened to them and they're able to, get together and maintain a semblance of their own government, more than likely it's going to be that they're still going to abide by whatever beliefs have been sort of pounded into them by Zalem's propaganda about, how you don't want to associate with the Dirtsiders.
Yeah.
So any attempt to get up there is still probably going to be met with deadly force.
Yeah. Badman says if the factory gets electricity from Zalem, then it's going to be difficult for them to maintain any kind of control for a very long. Yeah,
I doubt the factories get their electricity from there, because there is that one severed supply tube, but I think that factory is still running. More than likely, there are powerful fusion generators running Iron City.
Yeah.
Hell, it could be even that each factory has its own independent power grid.
Could be. Yeah, because Kashiro didn't say that. Well, to your point there, Lee, which faction, we were talking about whether the people in Zalem, or maybe there's 2 or 3 criminal factions, possibly a cyborg guild, perhaps. Which of these factions would become the stabilizing force, you think, or even have control? What do y'all think?
Whoever's got the most resources to throw at the problem and is able to get the populace to rally behind them. And that would probably be whoever could, promise food and security to the people.
There'll be a good faction, don't you think? Like one that Doc Edo would help lead, like the people trying to make sure Iron City, everyone's happy.
That's the problem. Doc Edo doesn't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the resources.
Yeah.
The problem is the only kind of people who would have that kind of power are the ones who are ruthless enough and greedy enough to collect that power.
Like Vector.
Like Vector or the Duchess or the other, crime lords in the city.
Yeah. Well, let me ask
allies.
Let me ask you guys this. Okay, let's say that I'm going to use the word government. I don't know if I'd call it a government, but the government in Zalem, say it falls. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Does a new Zalem essentially or inevitably rise, and we still have the same dynamic? They take over and they still keep doing the same thing that the old regime was doing. What do you think?
I would say probably for at least a while, yeah. Because you're going to have sort of an established way of doing things. And it's probably going to take a while for anybody who takes over up there, if they're so inclined even, to come around to a different way of governing.
Or say maybe Jeru sends people down to take over.
Which is definitely a possibility. I mean, in the novelization, it's hinted that things are being sent from Zalem up into orbit.
Yeah.
Does Jeru have its own Nova, like its crazy leader guy?
Yep.
It might.
Aga Embody.
Yeah.
Aga Embody.
Yeah.
What does Aga Embody mean?
He is the individual who is running Catheres in the manga.
Yeah.
He has the ability to hack into just about any computer.
He's got 3.
And he's an extremely powerful fighter for a organic natural human.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
does he live forever as well?
The populace in orbit are all immortal because of a certain drug that was invented.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Not biologically immortal.
Yeah.
They'd still be killed, but yeah, you're right.
They're ageless, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is why children were outlawed.
Yeah. Although Alita bitch slapped him, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. A couple of times, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, she can bitch slap anybody just about.
Yeah.
So, oh, here we go, bad man. I love this one. Is the Alita Army one of the factions they're going to take over? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are,
Yeah, the Alita Army is whoever Alita is leading.
That's right. And right now, she's leading us.
Mm-hmm.
Our queen is leading us, too. So, anyway, that's that. So, okay, well, I think we hit that one pretty good. Now, here's the one I wanted to get to. I first saw 3 possibilities. She could be a reluctant leader. She could be like a wanderer, which would be more around what Lee was saying about being a Ronin, or she could be the catalyst.
Well, according to Kashiro, she would most likely be the last 2.
Yeah.
Probably the last third one before becoming the second one.
Yeah. Well, she does have a problem with authority, so yeah, she defied Bigot Eisenberg. So
repeatedly.
Yes.
Yeah. I love our rebel cyber girl.
Yeah, I think she's more of a Ronin. The first one, the reluctant leader,
I could see her doing it temporarily for a very short period of time.
On a very small scale to get things going, maybe more the catalyst thing. But yeah, I don't see her being like
becoming Empress of Iron City or something.
Yeah, or being a president or being a prime minister or somebody like this. I don't see her doing that.
That's not something. Kishiro has said that's not something she would ever do. She would be much more likely the random element that brings about change.
Yeah, that's what I think she would be. So yeah, I kind of agree with you, Lee. I think she'd be a combination of the second and third bullet up there. You know, maybe initially she might do the first one, but it would be very short time, I think. And
probably to get people rallied together and get their own leadership going.
I agree.
And then she'd move on to other stuff.
Because she does care about people, you know, so she might do that, you know, but that would be very short time frame. That one, I think, it's just I don't see that in her skill set, you know, myself. You know, I mean, at least on a large scale. On a small scale, yeah, you know, she could do because you know, in the movie you get the impression that she's second in command to Gelda, so she's got some leadership capabilities, you know. Squad, you know, but yeah, on a large.
But after acting as maybe a short-term reluctant leader to get things going, and then the catalyst to bring about change, then maybe after she's done with that and things settle down a bit, she becomes the Wanderer.
Yeah, that's likely, you know, because she is, like you say, she is a Ronin. She's
well, that's Kishiro's description of her.
Yeah. What is this? A bad man? Yeah, he's saying probably the last two. He agrees with you, I think. Well, he agrees. I agree with it too. You know, I do think she could do the first one, you know, very early on and on a very small scale. But she's not going to lead an army. Now she can lead the Alita army. She can do that, but that's different. She's not going to lead a large scale military action.
Yeah. Well, there's also the Motorball arc. She actually led the Motorball team against Joshigan. Yeah. And then up in Last Order, she led the Space Angels in the
and the
Zenith tournament.
Yeah, the Zot. Yeah, but that's a very small.
Yeah, very small, little concentrated, limited sort of in scope.
So she's not going to do that for long, you know. So.
Yeah.
Now, could she learn to do? Yeah, she's not stupid. I mean, she could learn, but would she want?
It's more of a, I think, a motivation to do so. I don't think she's got the motivation.
No, I don't think she wants to do it either. You know, so yeah, I don't think so. You know, so yeah, I agree with you. Let me see what we got here. I don't have show notes, but I do have notes. Oh, here's a couple of questions. Would Alita accept leadership or reject it?
Rejected.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think she would accept it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, once again, on the reluctant leader, on a very short time frame for a very small group, she might.
I think if she saw it was necessary, very necessary for her, for somebody to step into the vacuum to at least get things moving.
Yeah, to like save someone she loved or something.
Yeah,
or to get people, you know, to not be so directionless so they can start doing it themselves.
Oh,
hey, Maxie.
Maxie.
Hey.
Howdy ho.
Good day. Hi. How was that for my Australian accent, Maxie?
Keep working on it.
Yeah. Can you do an American accent, Maxie?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of American accents. So,
yeah, there are, and there are a lot of Australian accents too. So,
not as many, but
well, it's not as many people either. So, I mean,
this is true.
Yeah. Welcome aboard, Maxie.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late. I had a bit of a rough time sleeping last night, and I slept through my alarm.
You slept? I thought you normally stayed awake till 3 o'clock and then woke up at 5 o'clock. Something like
that. Not when I have a wife and a job. They don't allow shit like that.
Yeah, that's right. So So anyway,
I've been listening to you guys for the last 20 minutes trying to get my shit together to come on. But I was just going to say that I I don't see Alita as taking up a political post, like a large-scale leadership post, but I could see her taking up a small-scale leadership post, like maybe the head of a SWAT team, or maybe even like a small brigade for defense or something like that. But I couldn't see her, you know, being a politician, sitting behind a desk and directing traffic. That's not her.
She's not a manager per se. She's more of a task.
She ain't no desk jockey.
Yeah,
that's right.
And she don't want to be a desk jockey. That's for sure. You know,
Nope, she's the hands-on type.
Yeah. Well, what do you? Well, here's another question, I guess. Maxie, I don't have show notes, but I do have notes. So how about that?
Oh my God!
Yeah, holy shit! Right?
Look at that growth, character growth.
You're rubbing off on me, Maxie.
So, yeah, you'll need some good soap for that.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, what does the world need Alita to be?
Well, you know, we're really talking about, if we stick to canon, we're not talking about the Alita who led the Space Angels. We're talking about the one whose brain was in a box and got turned into basically a human, like a full-flesh human at the end of Last Order. Yeah. She'd be the one who'd be around because the other one went off to Venus. So, I mean, you've got to remember that the Alita who was turned full-flesh and was reunited with Figure 4 was up to the baby bomb. So she hasn't gone through that huge amount of growth in those 19 volumes. Yeah. She's still pissed with Nova, and has basically had most of her agency taken away. She doesn't have that Supreme Cyborg body anymore. So I think she'd be a little bit lost as far as status quo of her abilities is concerned. Which is why I think she might lead a SWAT team or something like that, but she wouldn't be the SWAT team, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Because she can't anymore. And my personal feeling about this is, I think that she'd probably marry Figure, pop out a couple of babies, and then get turned back into a TR. Yeah. That's what I think would happen, because all she's ever known as being a TR. So like this whimsy of being a full-flesh human would probably last as long as maybe 2 babies. And that would be it.
Well, I mean, and that's right, Maxie, because her whole thing is being a TR. She's not.
That's right.
It'd be like taking a human and making them a TR when they've been a human all their life. It'd be a similar, except in reverse, you know.
Well, it's basically the reverse of Hugo, which you know, he was a full-flesh human and preferred it that way, and ended up being TR'd because.
Well, there's also the fact that Alita admires strength, and being a human has very much weakened her. So she'd probably want that strength back, so she'd have the power to affect the changes she wants in the world around her.
But because she loves Figure, and he'd probably want a family, seeing she now was capable.
So she might put it off,
Yeah, she might put it off. So that's the way I see it going. But I mean, Ito did tell her about police forces, at least in the movie. I don't know that he mentioned it in the manga, but he might have. She might go, well, that sounds like a good idea. Let's form a police force that's there to protect and serve the populace. So she might be involved in the development of a police force. She might even be the police chief in Zalem, and clean up the city, and then go back to being a TR if things get nasty, or when things get nasty. Because I think I don't think that the recovery of Earth back to a civilized place is going to be linear. I think there's going to be severe ups and downs. I think that Ito and Vector and Chaos would start forming a government, because now that they've been recognized as a political entity, they would need a government. So I think that those sorts of people, the visionaries, would start
I suspect
forming a
Chaos
government.
would be the one to probably take up the lead on that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think Chaos would be the front man because he's got the grandest ideals, but I think Vector would be very much the guy who gets shit done.
Didn't he actually pass away after a while because he was really sick towards the end?
He got killed in the movie. So.
Well, yeah, in the movies he died.
Well, I mean, yeah. If you count him out, then there's even less clear-cut, obvious characters who would become part of the initial government,
or at least part of the original roster. I mean, it could be that you have some other characters that step up into the spotlight, as it were, and make themselves known. So,
yeah,
true, but like you need people who were willing to go into politics and had grand ideals, sort of like the way I see the founding fathers of the USA, where they had grand ideals and it was for the people by the people and all that sort of thing before it turned into the cesspit that it is today. And that's all I'll say about it. But politics being what it is, and how it's turned out in the 2000s. But they need idealists and people who can get shit done, and they need an enforcement section, and that's where Alita would come in. So she would either be the head of the army, but I think that's too big for her. I think she'd probably be the police chief. She could organize that many individuals.
I think she'd be bored with that pretty quick, though.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be permanent posting. I think it would be temporary until it got going. And then she would hand it over to somebody she trained up, and she would end up leading a SWAT team or a paramilitary organization.
Yeah.
Something that gets shit done, because that's the sort of person she is. She's the get shit done person.
Yeah.
And being up above it all just doesn't really suit her.
Well, she doesn't want to do it. I don't think she'd want to do that.
Yeah, she seems like the very hands-on sort.
Yeah. So, Maxie, you think she'd be more of the third bullet there then, right?
Be more of a what, sorry?
The third bullet up there, Catalyst.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely Catalyst.
Yeah, we were thinking that she might be a combination. Maybe a little bit in the beginning, the first bullet, kind of like what you were saying, get things going. And then after that, we thought she'd be more of a combination of 2 and 3. But
what about Figure? Well, how would he fit in? Because he'd be up there with the notable names.
Well, we don't have him figured in here, if you'll pardon the pun. Oh, that was a dad joke. Anyway, hey,
Jealous would be proud.
I am a dad,
Yeah, I know.
So, but anyway, I could see him being a support role with Alita, I think.
I think he'd simply partner with Alita with whatever it is that she chooses to do.
I think so too.
I mean, he also strikes me as the kind who isn't necessarily out to, grab a lot of power. He likes to be able to be free to wander, to do his own thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to be tied down necessarily to any one place, at least for very long.
Plus, I don't see him as the brightest bulb in the bunch either.
Maybe not.
So
he could grow wise. He's no young man.
He could.
He's got a good heart too. So
yeah, he does. He has a very good heart. And he's only 23 years old, so he can gain experience and wisdom, and as he grows older. So yeah. So I don't know though. I don't know how much wisdom and experience I've grown since I got from my 20s. So anyway,
probably more than you realize.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. So, all right. Well, anyway, I think we all agree Alita would be more of maybe could lead a small group, but might be the, whatever is needed for change, maybe to inspire others. And then she steps back. I think that's what we all agree on. So, but she's, like you said, was it Lee or Maxie said very hands-on?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right. So
I didn't say it in so many words, but Lee certainly did.
ah, okay. So we talked about that first bullet up there. What does it mean, to be a human, or when your body is modular? In other words, you can replace parts, or if you're like Alita, where you got a nanite technology that repairs you. What does it mean to be human? I think we've talked about that. I think in Alita's case, even when she's an android, I think her human sensibilities or her human side is still there. So that's what I think. I think what it means to be human is just what your mental framework or what your beliefs and what your how you operate determines whether you're human or not. In Alita's case, particularly in the Imaginos body, even though she's an android, I think she's still human. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
I kind of agree. The android Alita is still very human. She has a very human spirit.
Yes.
I think what it means to be human with modular bodies is just going to basically evolve, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Well, not all the cyborgs in the 26th century are TRs, are they?
Yeah. And there's quite a few partials. I mean, people losing limbs in accidents or, what have you.
Yeah. And they're still cyborgs, but they're not total replacement cyborgs, but they're still cyborgs, and they're still definitely human. So I kind of like what you said there. It's going to be more of an evolution of it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, do you think any society after Zalem falls is going to regulate cybernetics ethically? That's a good question.
It's if it even occurs to them to do so, which it could very well. I mean, in that case, they might make some attempts to, but it's going to really depend on how a lot's going to depend on how successful they end up being,
and who has the power.
Yeah.
Sure. If the cyborgs have the power, then no, they're not going to let themselves be regulated, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I don't think there'll be any ethics in it at all, And
well, it might be that there will be some restrictions on things like involuntarily modifying somebody. They might outlaw that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it might end up being more like a cyberpunk society, like Cyberpunk 2077, where people just get what they need as they're able to get it, and maybe some things are regulated under law. So you can't turn yourself into some kind of like city leveling super monster.
You mean controlled by the corporation?
Or whatever controlling entity ends up being in
in Cyberpunk, there's a corporation in there that...
Oh, there's multiple corporations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the most powerful of them is Arasaka, but there are a whole slew of others that also have a great deal of power as well.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the two versions of Cyberpunk that have been in role-playing games for the last 30 years, it's Cyberpunk 2020, which then became Cyberpunk 2077 because we went past 2020.
Yes.
But also there was another one called Shadowrun, which had magic in it as well. So, they threw in every trope they could find. Dragons, elves.
Well, that was a completely different tabletop game from another company. But yeah, it had a lot of cyberpunk elements to it.
Yeah, but it's got the whole cyber humanity thing going on as well. Mm-hmm. And both of them predict the rise of corporations as the equivalent of political entities and the diminishment of human politics. So basically the corporates run the place and the government's sort of there to pick up the pieces in between, but they don't have much power or much money, whatever scraps they get handed. So if you're not part of the corporation, you're in the gutters in between where the scum live.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bit the same as the factory versus the unwashed humanity in Iron City. So it's all that sort of us and them kind of mentality, but not politically corporate.
Well, it's sort of like rollerball.
Yeah, yeah, it's been predicted a lot of times in a lot of stories.
Yeah. Yeah, rollerball, the corporations ran everything. There were no governments.
Exactly. Well, that's taking it to the nth degree.
Yeah.
The politics just completely.
Well, if they manage to overthrow both the factory and Zalem's controlling entities, then they may end up deciding to put some sort of safeguards in place to prevent that kind of thing from happening, if they're able to, or if somebody even thinks of it.
Well, it all depends who's running the corporate side. Well,
if it's really chaos, I think he's probably going to have enough foresight to and hindsight through all of his what's it called?
Psychometry.
Psychometry. Yeah. Kept wanting to call it geomancy for some stupid reason. His psychometry would allow him maybe enough knowledge about how things were in the past to put some kind of power in place to keep that from happening. So a private corporation couldn't grab power like that, and it all remained in a sort of a civil government in the hands of the people more.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to do a sudden shift to a political system that hasn't existed functionally in an area for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Well, in this case, it'd be 500 years, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way Iron City functions, if you even call it functioning, would have to change quite radically if you were going to have any sort of representation of the people.
Yeah.
And you know, that comes from a grassroots education perspective. You've got to educate the people to be part of society.
Yep.
Which, you know, once it kicks off, it's okay, but actually starting it from scratch is a hard part. Now, there are benefits for, you know, starting a political structure in the early days when there aren't a lot of people around. I mean, that's how it worked in the US. Where
well, if you can provide people with food and stability, then they're probably going to be more likely to want to go along with what you're proposing.
Yeah. I mean, the difference between the start of the USA and changing the political structure in Zalem is technology. Like they have big screens and stuff, so you can get information out to the populace.
Yeah.
Whereas that just didn't exist at the start of the USA. So it's not exactly a one-for-one comparison.
Yeah.
But certainly the numbers on the surface of the Earth are quite low compared to what we're used to today. So they don't have as many people to keep under control. So you don't need as big a police forces and armies and all that sort of shit. So that's why I kind of think that Alita might be up to the task of controlling that side of things initially, but as it grew bigger, she'd then want to hand it off to somebody who's got the big picture ideal and run something smaller.
Yeah.
So I could see it being involved to begin with, but then stepping aside when it got too big.
I think Bad Man here is quoting Captain Barbossa. I think, you know, the Pirates Code is more like guidelines than actual rules. So, but problem with law, he says the problem with laws is that they're more like guidelines than say actual rules. Well, I'm not going to say who's treating laws like not even guidelines. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. But yeah, it depends on the, you know, the leadership. You know, I mean, you can develop all the laws you want, you know, and if the people in charge, if they say, I'm not following that shit, I want to do what I want to do, you know, then you're done. You know, the laws are meaningless in that point. You know, it requires kind of a mutual understanding.
You would also have to have some kind of way of preventing, say, a private entity from putting out a whole lot of, say, campaign donations to certain individuals to say, it's like, implement this law or repeal this other law, and I'll give you a large donation to keep you in your elected seat, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You'd have to find some way of preventing that from happening, because if politicians can be bought up, then you've still got the same problem.
Do we have that today? Oh, pray tell, no, that doesn't happen. Not.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
No, we don't have a government that's completely bought and paid for by Wall Street.
Not us.
Absolutely not. That would never happen.
No way. Well, that third bullet right there kind of links somewhat back to the first bullet. And then what rights do full body cyborgs have? Well, or total replacement cyborgs have? Well, that would be if you consider them human or not. And if
well, I think there would be quite a few people who would consider them human.
Yeah.
I mean, they have human brains, human personalities. I mean, they basically, the seat of your humanity is your brain.
Yeah.
So if, you're a full cyborg, you have a fully prosthetic body, but you're still human. I mean, there might have to be some certain laws around how strong they can make themselves or how destructive they can end up being, because they're going to be in a city or an environment with a lot of soft-bodied people.
Yeah.
So you have to take some of that stuff into account. But
yeah,
I imagine they would have rights the same as anybody else, really, outside of that.
Well, Badman says even the tuned unit should be given human rights.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because if for instance, the tuned, the AR series, in a lot of ways, they're similar to Alita because they're androids.
Yeah, they're copies of her.
Yeah,
each one having a somewhat slightly different aspect of her personality, maybe, but they're basically copies of her psyche. Yeah,
and they don't have the. Well, now in the Badlands arc, they are very similar, but I mean, but it's like Alita is, in terms of not of being an android, is more like the AR series,
Yeah.
And I consider Alita human. So yeah, I think the AR series, since they are a copy of her, that they are human. Now they've been manipulated in such a way where they don't kind of think like she does in a lot of things, I mean, take Zex, for example. He wants to kill all the AR series because he wants to be the #1, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, that's his whole thing.
Something about proving his right to exist or something like that. I always thought he was a little whacked out.
Well, he's a 2-year-old, so I mean, what can you do?
A 2-year-old with the power to take out a tank platoon.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, yeah, he's potent. Yeah, but I agree, Lee. I think you'd have to have some way, not just the law, because the law is no good if you don't have any enforcement. You'd have to have some way to make sure that a total replacement cyborg, that there are some kind of limiting factors on them. So because they are, like you say, living.
Yeah, breaking a law should have some kind of punishment. Otherwise, it's not going to be.
You got these soft bodies walking around, and if they just feel like kicking somebody's ass, well, they shouldn't be able to do that. So, without consequences.
Especially with how easily a full cyborg could kill an organic human.
Yeah. So, well, in terms of that last bullet, how would you stop a new Zalem from rising? Because remember, we were talking about on that a little while back that you maybe whoever the governing individuals are in Zalem now, and you overthrow them, and new people get in there. How do you stop them from going right back to where the status quo was before?
I think you would do exactly what they did in the manga, which was chaos when either him or somebody else that gave him the idea, basically permanently connecting Zalem to Iron City so that the two populations were always able to intermingle.
Yeah.
Basically making the two cities one.
Yeah. kind of like the Twin Cities in Minnesota.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they'd have to, in terms of getting between the two, they'd have to rebuild the structure below Iron City.
In the manga, they did that.
Yeah.
It took them years to do it, but they ended up creating a tower that allowed them to connect the scrapyard to Tefari's.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think as long as you had when you isolate people like that, it's like folks in Zalem are like living in a gated community, and the people in Iron City are like, like levels below them, at least they think,
Yeah.
And,
so you make the two cities one, so one's not in a gated community, and then you don't have that separation that keeps people separated.
Yeah.
And then you end up with less likelihood of a new Zalem coming up because you've got people or fewer people who are going to want to go back to the old way necessarily, or make it less easy for them to do that.
Yeah. Let me put the link in the chat again. If anybody wants to come on, we still got a little ways to go. I mean, we're getting close to the end, but if you want to come on and just say, I love Alita, or you want to, add to the conversation, do either one,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was talking about. Permanently attach the two cities via a rebuilt tower under Zalem.
Yeah.
You could make it so that it can't be closed from either side. Make it a wide open entry point to both areas.
Well, the thing of it is, too, bad man, is that we're going under the assumption here that whatever the ruling class or the group or whatever was of humans up in Zalem that were running things, they're not in power anymore. So
that's assuming you can get some cooperation from Zalem.
Yeah.
Which itself could be a whole undertaking on its own.
Yeah. But if you remove, at least if you remove the current group, they're overthrown and replaced, at least, you got a chance for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if one side refuses to allow the connection to open? Well, it depends on how the overthrow was. I mean, if it was a military takeover and they, the people in Iron City, just physically overpowered them, then of course they don't have the option to refuse. But if it's more of a, kind of a gradual, kind of an evolutionary type thing, then they could say, well, wait a minute, I didn't like that decision made some years ago. No, we can't let those people get up here. Then that's a different scenario, I think.
Yeah. Another side effect too, if you force Zalem to coexist with Iron City like that, that would be another reason for Zalem to maybe want to share some of its resources to uplift the standard of living in Iron City.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we hit that one pretty good, I think. Okay. Now this is assuming now that Iron City has fallen, at least not physically necessarily, but they've been
no longer in control.
Yeah, they don't control the factory, they don't control Iron City. There's a new sheriff in town, as they would say,
Mm-hmm.
There would, what would society be like? I mean, here the first bullet says new rituals emerging. I don't know about new rituals, but there would be new not procedures, but
maybe traditions, holidays, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, like Christmas is an example.
Maybe some kind of unification day to celebrate when the two cities united.
Exactly. And then, of course, children growing up. Now, up in Jeru, of course, children are outlawed. So, that would be a different story there. But, here, children would grow up never knowing the control of the old Zalem.
Yep.
It's kind of like kids in Russia, I guess, that they don't, that have been born after the Soviet Union fell. They have never.
Yeah, they'll learn about it in school, but they've never had to live under it.
They've never had to live under it. Yeah. Now, some would say that what they got now is just as bad, but that would be another topic that we wouldn't cover on this stream anyway. And but here's one of the things that could happen, and this might be something that we could, you know, focus in on. You know, Alita would probably have at least some kind of leading role or be a major part of the downfall, you know, of that governing group. Because she gets up to Zalem, you know, maybe she has a few, you know, folks that have, you know, that know how to use weapons, or, you know, more of a paramilitary thing, and they overthrow, you know, the quote government unquote in Zalem. What about the mythology that would happen after that? You know, and of course there's that quote, the girl who broke the sky. That would be Alita, wouldn't it, in that case?
Yeah, very possibly. I mean, you get the legends and myths that, you know, rise up around these things, stories people start telling each other. So yeah, all kinds of stuff could be developing out of that.
She could be thought of as like a superhero, you know. I mean, you know, you know, the Alita Battle Angel,
or an Arthurian style figure.
Yeah, that's right.
Mythical and legendary.
Yeah. Although there's some debate whether Arthur really existed.
That's what I mean. You know, basically, if enough time passes, you could end up having her and Ito and the others passing into the myths of history sort of thing, and people start to wonder if they were necessarily really all that, if they really existed or not.
And some of their accomplishments would probably be exaggerated.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that, you know. So yeah, that would be songs and stories about them, wouldn't there? I think, especially,
and probably not just her, but her companions as well.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, you know, the group, you know, that overthrew Zalem, you know, or something like that. You know, she might have. I mean, if she got cyborgs to go up there with her, you know, like people, you know, maybe not Sapan, because Sapan hates her, you know, but and of course,
on the manga, he also dies.
Yeah, he dies. So yeah, so he's not possible. But Clive Lee of the White Hot Palm is an example. You know, Screwhead, you know, because I don't think Screwhead's dead, and others. You know, maybe Ajikutty, you know, some of the motorball players, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, they go up, you know. Now, granted, the motorball players got it pretty good. They're making good money already. So, you know, they would have to, you know, think about, well, money's not that important to me. I'd rather freedom is the best. You know, they'd have to have that kind of altruistic.
Or maybe they decide to open up another motorball arena up on Zalem.
Could be.
You know, opening up a new venue might, you know, be a new business opportunity for some of them or something.
But there are stories here in the U.S. of groups like that, you know, like the Swamp Fox, you know, who fought the British, you know, during the War of 1812. You know, he was, it might have been the American Revolution. Now I don't even know my own freaking history. But anyway, you know, he's kind of, you know, he's kind of mythologized a little bit, I think. You know, and
Daniel Boone type thing.
Boone and Davy Crockett and all these people. You know, they.
Oh, to answer Badman there. If we're going off of the thing when Zalem is no longer in control and people are just going up there freely, then yes, they will be arriving in one piece.
Yeah.
If it's before that, no, there's just our brain going up.
Yeah, they are not. Yeah. What's this? The girl with the facial tattoo. Yes, I like this one too. The Martian Maiden, the Steel Siren, yeah. Avenging Angel, yeah, that would be the one.
And probably the Angel of Death would be another one that survives.
Death and Battle Angel, you know.
Yeah, that too.
Angel. Yeah, all of them would be, you know, yeah, there would be all kind of mythology around this stuff, I guess. Kind of like, you know, there's a character in mythology, you know, Battle of Troy, Achilles, you know, he was supposedly a person that I guess Homer wrote about, you know, that maybe, he wasn't like Achilles. He wasn't invulnerable, but I mean, he was a really good fighter, so maybe Homer wrote about him in such a way that made him look like he was invulnerable. But yeah, you would get those kind of stories, I think, about Alita. The world learning to breathe again. Maybe. They would certainly have more freedom to do things like leave the city.
There might actually end up being a movement that gets going to start reclaiming some of the territory or some of the wilderness around them. Start basically building settlements, towns, that kind of thing, that eventually grow into maybe new cities and such later on.
Yeah.
Further out and start, reclaiming the earth, as it were. Yeah, because you wouldn't have the shadow of Zalem blocking the sun, maybe. Well, the Zalem would still be there, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it would still be there, but it would be run by different people.
Yeah.
And another catch on this, too, would be that the people in Jeru would have to agree.
Yeah, you'd have to make sure they don't send some kind of force down the elevator to reclaim the city and retake control of it.
Of course, if Alita's waiting at the entrance with a group of her.
Well, that also goes back to the thing with her going up into orbit and doing the Zod.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if she does that like she did in the manga, then that basically means that she would be fighting for Zalem and Iron City's independence, or Earth's independence in general.
Yeah. And the thing about this would be Aga Embody, he would have to agree to work with the new leadership on Zalem. Or
he just kill him and let somebody else take his place.
Maybe, but I mean, given that they don't do that, though, that would be one thing. Yeah, you could kill him. That'd be the end of that.
That's what I was saying. It's like she'd probably still have to go up there, do the Zot tournament to win the independence of the people of Earth, so that they're no longer under the control of Jeru or Cathares or whatever.
Yeah, imagine you got to have a Canadian tell an American what his history is. But you're right there, Bad Man. That's right. Francis Marion. Yeah, there was a TV series on that in the 60s. So about the swamp fox, And actually, if you guys saw the movie The Patriot, with Mel Gibson, it's kind of based on that story. Now, he's not Francis Marion. I forget what his name is in the movie. But he does a similar thing. He kind of has a group of a militia, that hangs out or hides in the swamp, and they can't, the British can't find him, so he does kind of like guerrilla warfare and that kind of stuff, This is a TV series made by by Canadians. Possibly. Could be. So anyway. All right, guys. Well, I think we hit that pretty good.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah. Well, here's one question I got in my notes, Maxie, is what does Iron City look like 20 years later after this assumed, collapse?
I'm going to say it looks a little bit closer to Zalem.
Could be, yeah.
You got more well-built buildings, cleaner streets, more well-maintained, better infrastructure.
Yeah.
Less corpses.
Yeah.
A physical connection between Zalem and Iron City. Yep.
Less draconian laws.
Yep. And possibly a police force that Alita heads up initially.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
And probably a lot of flying vehicles too.
Yeah.
And probably more birds coming back.
Yeah, that's right, because birds can't fly around there because the centurions will shoot them down.
And after centuries of birds not being able to go there and probably learning to stay away from it, it probably could take a long while before they start coming back again.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Well, the good thing about birds is they're very mobile. So they'll spread out into new areas if the area is safe pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think, to your point too, Maxie, is that people would be able to come and go out of Iron City more than they would now. I mean, I say now, but the way things are in
the current story.
In the current story, yeah, they have to go through a checkpoint. The Centurions, kind of analyze.
Yeah, there's thorough security scanning of every vehicle going.
Now they don't have that. Now anybody can go into Iron City and leave and come back and leave and come back as much as they want.
Yeah.
So Badman might be able to correct me, but I think that one of the reasons birds didn't hang around Zalem was because of the energy field that it gave off.
That's entirely possible, yeah.
Oh, that's possible.
It basically drove them off because it was uncomfortable for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iron City itself would probably grow as it got a little bit more what's the word? Yeah, my mind's blanking on it. Oh well.
Canadian geese actually do navigate between Canada and the U.S. using the Earth's magnetic field, so they are sensitive to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, if there's something up there that disrupts that, they'll probably stay away from it.
Yeah.
Well, there's the whole temperature differential because of the space elevator drawing the cold down from space.
Yeah.
So that might affect them as well.
Ash Blackman says, "Oh, go ahead, Maxie. Go ahead."
Are you talking about GDP? Or
the standard of living, as the standard of living goes up, then Iron City will probably grow.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Now it'll take a while for the standard of living to go up, but eventually it would, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I think we hit it pretty good, guys. What do you think?
Yep.
Any other thoughts?
None on my end.
It's gonna take a while, is my thought.
Vladdy?
What's going to take a while? The sequel?
No, well, yes, but I'm talking about the basic change in the way that Earth is run after it becomes its own political entity. You've got to have people step up and take charge. Like you sort of look at the way human society works at the moment, and it didn't just they didn't just snap their fingers and it appeared like that one day. It's developed slowly over tens of thousands of years to become like that. And even though, with chaos of psychometry, they can look back and see previous eras governmental structures and decide which one they want to go with, you've still got to talk the people into it. You've got to convince them that it's going to help them. Then you've got to develop a voting system. You've got to, try and bring all that stuff back that they used to have that we take for granted, that just isn't there anymore and hasn't been there for hundreds of years. So nobody's comfortable with it. So it's really going to take a lot of hard work to get everybody on board. And then not everybody's going to get on board, but you've got to get the majority on board. So I think that they've got a hard road ahead of them, but it's a worthwhile road. You get my drift.
And it's doable too. You get the right people in place, So, yeah. Okay, and Vlad, you had no additional other than
it's quite a big topic. It's hard to know how to summarize it all.
Yeah,
but we covered it pretty well.
I think so. All right, so we didn't miss anything, I guess. Anyway, you can see from that center panel there, Alita loves her Uncle Creek, and that is because he wants those sequels, and so does she. And if you got a problem with Alita loving her Uncle Creek, you can take it up with her because there she is with that plasma weapon ready to make you say, oh, I think I won't disagree with you on that. So next week, haha, Maxie, I got you. Next week on, almost said radio chaos.
Because you're not used to next week in year.
Yeah, next week on the Alita live stream, we're going to go over another topic that is kind of predates the one we went over this time, but we're going to talk about, the world, or what the way things were before the fall. So in other words, and I mean, when I say fall here, I mean the fall, the Great War of the Fall, So they will probably have some references to the novelization that I did not read. So, but anyway, we're going to have that. And Maxie, I presume that you probably have got a thumbnail, but if not.
Of course I got a thumbnail. You've already got it.
Well, here's the problem.
You used it when we did the recording, dude.
Yes, I got it. Maxie, I got it. But let me. I don't have it in the PowerPoint because I screwed up and put the other one in there. So let me go back here and share my screen.
Do you want me to grab it? I have it.
I got to share my screen, Maxie. So this one.
Come on, computer.
There it is.
Oh, you found it. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. Of course I got it, Maxie. So, Maxie, you want to talk about this one?
I suppose I could sing. I wrote it.
Yeah.
So Creaky's here tonight, but tomorrow night he will be he'll be off lifting weights and trying to produce a PB at is it a Colorado State Championship?
Yeah, that's it.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, so we won't be having a live stream tomorrow night, sadly. But that's okay. We have already, because Creaky and I are terribly organized. And of course, Lee came along for the ride because I love it when Lee comes along and gives us his opinions on writing, because he does a lot of that himself. But I've recorded chapter 8 of my fanfic, or flanfic, as it's sometimes called. So episode 306 will be a premiere. You'll be able to comment in the live chat, but we won't be able to talk about it on the stream because it won't be a stream, it's a recording. But do catch us for that one. There is a couple of little bits of news there. We do cover Rosa coming on the week before again, because why not? Yes. And then there's a reading of chapter 8. Now, why there's only one chapter rather than 2 is because the next chapter, which we will be, I'll be reading in a couple of weeks when Creaky goes off to the Arnold, is enormous. It's a very long chapter. It's kind of like a train heist episode. So look forward to that one. That'll be starring Shamira and Koyomi. So that will be the one after this one. It will probably be about 309, I think, maybe. But yeah, so tomorrow will be a premiere, and you can join the premiere and listen to it like you would a live stream, but it won't actually be live. It'll be a recording. But you can chat about it live, and I'll probably jump in the chat there at the time if anybody wants to ask any questions of the author, which is me. Hi there.
Anyway, AAA has taken issue with the term plan Maxie.
Yeah, that just sort of came up because there's a certain character which will remain nameless that is pivotal to the story in somewhat of a negative sense, which happens to really like Flan. So I mistyped fanfic at one point and wrote Flanfic, and it stuck.
Yeah.
So that's tomorrow night, roughly same time. it's the usual 9 p.m. GMT. So check that one out and do join us. I'm currently in the middle of organizing advertising for that, so you'll see advertising around on X and Facebook and Discord and Reddit. So check that one out.
Might go over there to Instagram too, Maxie. They got a pretty
I'm not busy on Instagram, so I don't have much in the way of followers, so I don't think it would get very far.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go on Instagram and post it.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Well, if anybody wants to share the post, the advertising post, do feel free to share it on Blue Sky or any of the other socials that I'm not on.
Now, by the way, Maxie, on Instagram, they want the thumbnail to be like a 1x1, not 16 by 9. So I'll have to kind of mess with it just a little bit to make it so, because if I just compress this to 1-to-1, it's going to look weird. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So, but I won't screw the content. So
just add a bit to the top and the bottom. You'll be right.
Well, just on the sides. Probably what I'll do is I'll cut out a little bit of the center here. If you can see my cursor, a little bit out of here probably, because if you cut the top, then it's going to make it worse. So you maybe cut it from here to here, not to there.
Well, to make it 1-to-1 without doing anything else, you just add a bit to the top and the bottom, but everything gets a bit smaller.
Yeah, that's true. I could do that as well. So, but anyway,
if you want to hack that bit out the middle, I have no problem with that. It was just to make it fit for YouTube.
Yeah. All right, so join us and be cool, for sure.
And best of luck, Creaky. I hope you personal best knocks it out of the park.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Whether I get personal best or not, the objective is to win. I don't want to try to set a personal best and then lose, because I don't get it. So, the idea is to win. So, but anyway, that's, I think I will set a personal best probably in the deadlift. That's probably what I will.
Isn't your greatest opponent yourself?
Well, yeah. In reality, it is. Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So, but I've got a couple of lifters there that are pretty good. So we'll keep after it. Thanks, AKA and Badman. I appreciate that. Anyway, as great as y'all might think I am in these competitions, I ain't close to this lady right here. This lady is #1 in the Creeks book in terms of being an actor.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see her again in a couple of weeks.
Yes, the Blotmeister is going to see her.
For the final time in London.
And Vladdy, you get the Above and Beyond award this year for getting out there and getting Rosa on the.
I have missions to accomplish sent from God himself.
You've done well.
Are you going to ask her to get to say hi to the Alita Army again?
Oh, well, I wasn't planning on it because we've already done that, Creaky. I don't want to bore her.
Yeah.
I need to think about what I want to say to her on the final one. I think mostly I'll probably just say how much I liked her in this play, but I do want to think about other things I want to say as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to send her more flowers, but that's.
Yeah. I think I will as well, maybe, but you're already sending flowers. You could just say they're from the Alita Army, right? So.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Alita Army on it. I always say the Alita Army loves Rosa Salazar is what I put.
I'll think of a gift. I haven't really given her a gift from myself yet. I'm not really sure what to give her. I first gave her a fan art from one of the artists on the subreddit.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a gift from me, but it was technically from the girl from the subreddit. So I don't know what to give, but I'll think of something.
I got something to give her. Chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Go to that lint store that we went to and get her a nice,
maybe I can see something that's Alita inspired and get her that.
Yeah, something like that. No, don't get her a Milky Way bar or anything.
Obviously, yeah. I think chocolate seems a bit like low effort.
A really good gourmet chocolate thing, and I bet she'd love it. Yeah.
Well, she did keep blowing those takes at the chocolate eating scene, so she get more chocolate.
Yeah. Doing that on purpose. Yeah. I meant to ask her that and I forgot. So anyway, but anyway, like I say, she's #1 in the Creeks book. That's for sure, man. She's a great actor. We are so freaking lucky that she got picked, you know, to be Alita. And Maxie, I'm going to move off of that now and go to this because I don't want to start waxing lyrical again. But like I've already been doing. Anyway, I also want to give shout outs to El Lamont and Jesse Fisher because they brought Screwhead to life. And what Creek wants is he wants Alita and Screwhead to team up against Joshua. That's what I'd like to see in the sequel. You know, what is this? Does Robert Rodriguez sell chocolate in the UK? I don't think so, bad man. But hey, who knows? You know. So anyway, they brought Screwhead to life, and I think all three of them deserve to be in the sequel. You know, in Alita 2, because they are really good at what they do. Yeah, and I tell you, certainly Rosa's great. You know, we all know that. And you know, Elle, she really pulled off Screwhead without a single line. She didn't have any dialogue, and she pulled that off. Man, she was a really integral, you know, part of that whole story in the movie. You know, and of course, Elle says that Jessie is the most badass stunt woman she ever worked with. So. There you have it. You know, you got three really talented professionals, you know, that we want to see in the sequel. So, and if Rosa, if you're listening to this and I'm embarrassing you, I'm sorry. So anyway, moving on. We also got the Stammtisch too coming up. You know, if you want to come on and talk to us, you know, you can. It's the same link that I put in a while ago, but you know, you can. You know, join us. This is not streamed, so you know the internet at large is not going to be able to see this. You'll only be talking to us, you know, and we don't bite unless you want us to. And then, of course, if we do, we'll be gentle, you know. So, but yeah, you know, we do cool stuff on there. A lot of times, Maxie and Lee, they get on here and they talk about author stuff, you know, which is okay, you know. But we'll show videos and you know, maybe photos and stuff like that, you know, and just talk about general stuff. And no, we do not drink beer. At least I don't drink beer, and I can't drink beer right now. So anyway, but join us for this. You know, it's a good way to get started if you're thinking about or considering getting started into coming on to either this stream or the Radio Chaos stream. This might be a good little initial step, you know, and they do a similar thing too. And we do a similar thing in Radio Chaos, and there's this Kansas bar after party. So, you know, you can, they're very similar, you know, so you can come on, it's not streamed. You can be a little more relaxed. You don't have to have the anxiety that you would have, you know, talking on a stream, and just come on and chat with us, you know, and we won't badmouth here if your English is bad or anything like that, because listen to my English. All you got to do is listen to me for 5 minutes. You know I can't speak English. So there you have it. So anyway, join us for the Stammtisch. We'd love to have you. By the way, the person that came up with this was actually Smendrick. He's the one that suggested the Stammtisch, you know, because it's a big deal in Germany. You know, it means regulars table. So, you know, we kind of like to think of this as a regulars table of sorts. We are the Alita Army. We are the most positive fandom on the internet. We support Alita and Rosa Salazar passionately and positively. And we are here to stay, Disney. We are not going anywhere, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And when you give us a sequel, you know, I hate to break the bad news to you, but we're still going to keep doing it because we're going to want more than just a sequel. And we're going to help you put, Maxie might say bums in streets, but in seats, but I'm going to say asses in seats. That's what we want because we want Alita 2 to be successful, and you've got a ton of PR people now out here in the Alita Army. Some of us will go see this movie 100 times if you you know, I know I plan to go see it many times when it comes into the theaters, and you're going to be able to sell us merch. You're going to be able to, you know, come up with some new anime, possibly games, maybe some live action series, you know, and streaming and stuff like that. And we will just gladly fork our money over to you right out of our wallets, right into your bank account. So, you know, do it for us. We will reward you. Why is this image here? Well, that image is there because I like it and I'm running the stream. And to paraphrase Gruwishka, I'm only here for our girl and our queen and the Alita army. And so that only leaves us with just one thing left to do, and that would be the call to action on my count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Film
those sequels, baby.
We will see you not tomorrow, but next week. We will see you on Alita Livestream and on Radio Chaos, and by all means tune into the recording, because it's worth a watch, you know, because it's a good chapter that Maxie's put together there, or a good fanfic.
Yep.
Okay, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.
No cause is lost, if there was but one fool left to fight for it.
Yeah, Gary, that'd be nice.